Hi, why is Australia locking down so hard due to COVID-19? And why is it the only, one of the few countries in the entire world that's basically destroying their own economy and destroying their own society? As some of you know, Australia has been locking down severely since late summer, since August basically. In fact, some of their regions or states have been locked down for weeks, and even months. For example, just this past few days, Melbourne has hit record number of cases of COVID-19, even though Melbourne has been locked down for almost 2 months now. They've been almost fully locked down for 2 months, and they're hitting record high numbers of COVID-19. And as we can see, as it's been reported, and even as their own health ministers are, reporting, literally 95% of those who are getting hospitalized and who are getting sick and who are getting ill and who are dying as well, 95% of those, according to their own your health minister, according to the own health, public servants, 95% of people who are getting into the hospital, who are getting seriously ill, and who are dying from COVID-19 are vaccinated. And again, they have huge, huge amount of their population fully vaccinated. They have been locking down for 2 months. Okay, for 2 months now they have been locking down completely, and they still have record high numbers of infections. In fact, if you read the Indian Express, it says Australia's largest cities, Sydney and Melbourne, and the capital Canberra, are in weeks long lockdown to combat the third wave of infections fueled by the fast moving Delta variant. COVID-19 cases in Australia's Victoria state surged to record levels on Thursday, despite Melbourne, the state capital, being stuck in a hard lockdown for nearly 2 months, as quote officials unquote raced to vaccinate the population before using curbs. And again, they just had, yeah, it was somehow someone from their health ministry go on TV and talk about the numbers, and he said that 95% of people who are being hospitalized and who are having serious reactions to COVID-19 are those who are already vaccinated. 95% of people ending up in the hospitals with severe cases of COVID are already vaccinated, and they've been locked down for 2 months. Like, doesn't make any sense. So, from the article, a total of 1,438 new infections were reported, the majority in Melbourne, eclipsing the previous daily high of 950 on Wednesday. 5 new deaths were recorded in the state. Australia's largest cities, Sydney and Melbourne, and the capital Canberra, are in a weeks-long lockdown to combat the third wave of infections by Delta. Yeah, authorities have ditched the COVID zero strategy and are looking at higher vaccination as their exit strategy from lockdowns, even though they have really high vaccination rate. Now, like, I mean, and again, if you look at the numbers, the people who are going into the hospitals and who are getting ill and who are getting COVID and who are dying from COVID, 95% of them are already vaccinated. So clearly it's not working. And again, if you compare that to Sweden, who for the most part stayed open, for the most part have not had any lockdowns, have not had any close downs, lockdowns, quarantines. They've not had like major shutdowns. They've not had any sort of forced social distancing. I think at one point they had, I think, like you couldn't gather more than like 150 people at one like tiny spot at one in a closed area. But even those restrictions that were like for a short while, they've been since removed. So if you look at Sweden now, they have one of the lowest rates of infections, lowest rates of serious illness from COVID-19, and lowest rates of COVID-19 deaths. And they've been almost completely open, almost completely open. And they've not forced the vaccines. They've not forced, mask wearing. They've not. In fact, I was actually in Sweden in the summer, and as I was, we were flying with the airplane, right? We flew at the airport, and we are leaving the airplane. And as soon as you leave the airplane, you can take off your mask. We wear it in the airplane. We go in the airport, and everyone takes off their masks, right? It's like a completely new, different world, and we're all still like there's like probably like 100, maybe 150 people all next to each other. No one's wearing masks. We're very few of them, very few people actually. And you go, you present your papers. You go inside the airport. There's a lot of people in the airport. No one's wearing masks, right? You go outside. No one's wearing masks. You go into restaurants. You go into like any building. No one's wearing masks. No one's socially distancing, right? So it's a completely different world in Sweden. In Australia, there's videos, basically old ladies. We're talking about 70 years old, 80 years old, ladies sitting on a bench in the middle of the day in a park, alone. There's not a single person inside, and there's like 50 cops, 50 cops go and harass these old ladies, right? They harassed 70, 80-year-old ladies sitting, alone in the park. And they have 50 cops for that, right? It's complete and utter lunacy. It's complete and utter craziness. It's like, why is Australia copying measures from Nazi Germany? That's what I don't get. I mean, look at Sweden, Australia. Look at Sweden. No lockdowns, no quarantines, no forced, vaccinations, nothing. No mask wearing, no nothing, no nothing, no social distancing, nothing. They have one of the lowest rates of COVID infections now. As Delta seems to be spreading like ever so like you know ever so fast in Australia and United States, for example, it's nowhere to be seen in Sweden. So yeah, it's just crazy in Australia. I don't get it. They've had 2 months lockdown, pretty much in the entire in the entire continent, in the entire country, right? 26, 27 million people completely locked down for almost 2 months, and the cases of COVID are like record high numbers of COVID-19 cases, record high numbers of hospitalizations, with complete lockdowns, complete shutdowns of the entire population of 26 million people. And now they're basically having to admit, like, let's see from the article, it's like Federal treasurer, Josh whatever, said the temporary payments will stop once 80% of the adult population in states and territories becomes fully vaccinated. But Victoria's businesses will receive a fresh 2.7 billion support from the federal government through the next 6 weeks, at which point the state should hit that dosage target from around 50% down. So I guess around 50% are fully vaccinated, about 65 to 70% are partially vaccinated, meaning one dose. But still, again, if you look at their data, if you look at their statistics, most of the COVID-19 patients are already vaccinated. And most of the COVID patients are older people. We're talking about 60 plus years old, usually with several comorbidities. And those are the people who are getting sick even with the vaccines. I don't know which vaccines they have in Australia. I don't know if it's Pfizer, if it's Moderna, if it's Johnson and Johnson, if it's Sinovac, if it's the Russian one or whatever. But still, doesn't seem to be having any effect. And now they're admitting we can't quote we can't eliminate the virus. We need to learn to live with it in a COVID safe way. Oh my gosh! I mean, they're so fucking stupid. They're so fucking stupid. You needed 2 freaking years to realize that you cannot just, lock down forever. And that even if you lock down forever, that is not going to get rid of the virus. Viruses don't work that way. They don't work that way. They're like, we're talking about nanometers. They can fly through a window. They can fly through a building. They can, they, the virus will spread. Will spread. You cannot eradicate it. You cannot lock down and just end the virus. There's just no way. The only way to get rid of a virus is basically for everyone to be fully immune, and then you get rid at least, well, even then you don't get rid of it, but that variant is basically not going to be dangerous for everyone who's already had the virus. It's going to be very mild. Maybe it will even completely asymptomatic. And once it's in your in your body, your immune system recognizes it immediately and immediately attacks it. So there's less of a chance of you shedding the virus. And so that's the only way you could potentially get rid of it. So, but they're having to now basically admit that they cannot get rid of the virus. They cannot even reduce the effects of the virus. They cannot reduce the infections. They cannot reduce the severity rate. They cannot reduce any of it. And they've been locking down for 2 months completely. They've shut down their economy for over a year, and still they have record high numbers of cases. So from the article here, Prime Minister Scott Morrison has been pressing all states and territories to begin living with the virus once full inoculation reaches 70 to 80%. But Queensland and Western Australia, largely COVID-free, flagged they may delay their reopening. I mean, Jesus Christ! People are committing suicides at record numbers. People are drinking. There have been at least a couple dozen studies from all over the world that have shown that again obesity has gone up, alcohol consumption has gone up, cigarettes consumption has gone up, suicides have gone up, uh, just failed marriages have gone up. You cannot put a stop to life, to living. You cannot put a stop to society. You cannot just say everybody stay home forever. Virus. Hey, there's a virus. Everyone stay home forever. No one can do anything anymore. No one can do. We are stopping life itself. I mean, that's just insane. That's just insane. Who are these, like, would be Hitlers doing all of this in Australia? I don't know. Like, I'm not sure exactly how it works in Australia. Like, who has the power, who has the control exactly in these types of situations. But this is complete and utter insanity. This is like completely crazy to be shut down for so long, to be locked down for so long, to destroy your own economy, to destroy your own country, to basically have skyrocketing suicides, skyrocketing alcoholism. Because what are people going to do? And again, there's major studies that show a link between obesity and COVID-19 uh, death, deaths and serious illness. And not just for COVID-19, for pretty much every single virus, every single bacterial disease, every single like disease ever. If you're fat, if you're obese, if you're like just if you're not fit, if you're not exercising, your body is weaker to deal with any virus, any bacteria, any illness, period. Period. Like there's at least 100 studies on the positive effects of just walking, fast walking for 30 minutes every day. Hundreds of studies. Hundreds more studies about the health benefits of running every day. Just 30 minutes of running. Immense health benefits. Okay? So exercise, running, even walking, just walking for 30 minutes a day, there's immense health benefits. Immense health benefits. And so when everyone's locked down at home, what are they doing? Nothing. They're eating, drinking, and sitting. And guess what that means? That means more COVID infections, more COVID severe cases. Why? Because people, when you're just sitting all day long and eating and consuming alcohol all day long, your immune system is going to become weaker. Doesn't matter if you have a vaccine, doesn't matter if you have 10 vaccines, doesn't matter if it's mRNA vaccine, doesn't matter if it's old school vaccine with a dead virus or like weakened virus. If your immune system is weak, doesn't matter. None of that matters. You can have 10 vaccines. You can have mRNA vaccine, and you can have the old school vaccine, and you can have like doses of each. If your immune system is weak, you'll have severe COVID-19 reaction, period. Again, our bodies are designed, you know, to move, are designed to be able to do stuff. We're not designed to just sit and eat and just because then our immune systems become weaker. In fact, there's probably good 20, 30 studies, peer-reviewed studies that show, for example, cold exposure actually boosts your immune system. Right? Everyone thinks, well, if I go out in the cold and it's too cold, I may get a cough and this and that, and you know everyone's scared of it. But actually, that actually boosts your immune system. And while you might actually get a cold or whatever, you actually that cold actually boosts your immune system. So having cold exposure is actually beneficial to you, and not just cold exposure, any sort of extreme like for example, there's probably at least 50 studies, right, peer-reviewed studies about the health benefits of sauna or just sweating and heat-based boost of your immune system. Again, there's studies, peer-reviewed studies, probably 20, 30, 40, 50 maybe on both cold and hot health benefits. There's probably hundreds, maybe even thousands of studies about the health benefits of just exercise, of being fit. And the only way to be fit is to go outside, is to do stuff, is to run, is to exercise, is to, you know, whether you, or be in a gym, lift weights, whatever. Any sort of exercise is good for you. Anytime you kind of start sweating, start pumping blood at a faster rate, that's beneficial for you, beneficial for your body. But when they lock you down, I mean, they might as well want you to die. You know, their policies literally make more people die because, again, there's thousands of peer-reviewed studies over the past, 30 years that show the health benefits of walking, running, exercise, etc. So when you're not doing any of that and you're locked in at home, sitting 24 hours a day and just sitting and eating, your immune system, your body, you're getting weaker. And so basically, if like if, if we had aliens invade and they wanted to kill everyone, but make it look like they're helping us, they would say, "Hey, everyone should sit at home." Basically be locked down like, constantly for a whole year. And that's how they wipe us out without even firing a shot, because all of our bodies will get weak, all of our immune systems will get weak, and not to mention all of the mental health issues. I mean, forget about just for a second about the physical health issues, all the mental health issues that occur, just sitting at home 24/7 for like months and months on end. It's insane. It's crazy. Heck, it's worse than Nazi Germany. It's worse than Nazi Germany. Like having 26 million people, all of them completely locked down for over 2 months. That's way beyond Nazi Germany. They didn't. I mean, even Nazi Germany, even Hitler, he didn't lock down all of Germany. They had curfews for the Jews. They had, show papers, please. They had various, restrictions at first, right? But it wasn't complete lockdown. It wasn't complete, shutdown. Even in Nazi Germany, there was no such ridiculous lockdowns. I mean, that's just, the fact that every single person, 26, 27 million people in Australia are completely locked down. That's insane. That's insane. And the numbers show that's insane, right? If you look at Sweden, who've had pretty much no lockdowns, they're doing way better than anyone else. And if you look at Australia, who've had one of the strictest, like COVID-19 quote measures, quote policies, they're doing the worst. They've had the strictest COVID-19 measures and policies, and they're doing the worst. Sweden has had the least restrictive measures, the least measures overall, and they're doing the best. I think that's a pretty clear-cut case for who's done it better, what works and what doesn't work. So yeah, I mean, I don't even know how people stand that. I know there's been a lot of protests recently in Australia. I mean, there's videos of even the cops, which is absurd. They're like, yes, they're agreeing with the protesters. They're like, yes, we agree with you. Yes, we hate the lockdowns too. Yes, we hate everything they're doing, but we're still going to fucking enforce it. Yeah, we disagree with everything they're doing. We disagree with the lockdowns. We disagree with the shutdowns. We're in the same fucking position. It's complete and utter lunacy. It's crazy, but we're still going to enforce it because it's our job. It's like, what if they tell you your job is to round up small children and shoot them in the back of the head? Will you do that? I mean, after all, it's your job. What if they tell you, hey, round up all the women and start raping them? I mean, would you do that? I mean, after all, it's your job, right? Hey, I disagree with this. I disagree with raping women, but it's my job, so might as well do it. I mean, it's complete insanity. People need to wake up in Australia, and there needs to be a big change, big change. And again, if you're talking about the facts, if you're talking about pure science, and compare Australia to Sweden, we can see, we can read, we can discern that Sweden is like 50 times better, and that's the right model. No lockdowns, no mask wearing, no first medication, nothing. You allow the virus to spread through, you allow for natural immunity, and that's it. That's it. You protect to the best of your ability the elderly people, those who are at a higher risk. For those, make sure to get them maybe more effective vaccines, or like, and again, completely voluntary as well. But get the vaccines to them first. Get them you know basically more information, and make sure that some of the treatments as well, ivermectin, monoclonal antibodies, zinc, vitamin C, that they're readily available, and that they're basically given those medicines if they do get sick. So it's not just prevention. I mean, all this talk about prevention, but how about treatment? So yeah, you do your best to kind of, I mean, if you can do some things to prevent on a voluntary basis, then that's great. But also focus more on treatment, right? Once someone's ill, hey, let's do the Joe Rogan stack, right? I mean, he took ivermectin, he took monoclonal antibodies, he took hydrochloroquine, or whatever it was called. I don't know. He took vitamin drip. He took all sorts of, like, as he says, they threw the kitchen sink at it. And guess what? In 3 days he was better. Not even 3 days. In 2 days he was better. So maybe do that. Maybe do that treatment. Maybe do the Joe Rogan stack, the Joe Rogan treatment. When someone's ill with COVID-19, especially uh, an older person, just throw the kitchen sink at it, right? Ivermectin, monoclonal antibodies, hydrochloroquine, whatever medication there is. There were few more as well. I think even reports back like 1 year ago that there was a some sort of Japanese uh, I don't even remember, was it antibacterial or antiviral drug that actually worked really well against COVID-19. And we know that zinc actually works pretty well in combination with vitamin D and vitamin C. So yeah, just throw the kitchen sink at it, especially for people who are older and who have a higher risk, right? When they get sick, throw the kitchen sink at it and treat it nice, treat it good, right? Treat the virus aggressively. So yeah, that's it for today. See you guys next time.